Okay, just wanted to take a minute to share my own top 10 countdown as to why I prefer to travel in a van. The top 10 reasons why it works for me. I don't know if you can see, but Queenie's over here in the corner. She's had a very long day, apparently sleeping at home, and that has worn her out. But she's hanging out here with me. Before I get into the top 10 countdown, though, there are a couple of things about the van travel experience in general that I want to say. One is that just because this list works for me doesn't mean that it's going to work for everybody else. There is no perfect RV, there is no perfect travel vehicle, there is no one size fits all. But I share this just because these are kind of the things that make me interested in this style of travel, and if it works for you, then it's information that I'm glad to share. If it doesn't, so be it. Another thing too is when you're thinking about vans in general, there's also a wide spectrum there. There's the do-it-yourself conversion van, the worker van that's turned into a van, a very minimalist approach, very on the low budget end. I mean, you can trip it out as much as you want, but the idea there is that you're going to build on it as you go, all the way up to the typical Class C, which is usually built on a Chevy or Dodge base, and some of those have some fiberglass additions, either caps on the end, or with the Explorer they're a little bit widened, but they hold true to the van shape and experience. And then you have the Sprinter class, which I think, for my own personal opinion, I think is probably the best of the vanning experience for a lot of the 10 reasons I'm about to give you. My own van is a Sprinter class, Class B, made by Roadtrek, a company in Canada, and I've really enjoyed it. But again, like I said, not every van, there is no perfect van. Any one that you buy, you're going to need to make modifications to fit your own needs, and I'll do another video on modifications I've done and modifications I want to do, and future modifications. Hopefully I'll do videos on the actual do-it-yourself modifications. So, on to the top 10 countdown. We'll start with number 10 and we'll count down to number 1. Number 10 for me, because I chose a customized Class B, so I didn't buy a van and then start to outfit it myself. I actually went with a company that takes the Sprinter and, well, they also do non-Sprinters, but I like their Sprinter model, and then just decks it out with all the amenities. So number 10 is you get a lot of the amenities that you're looking for in an RV already. We've got a galley kitchen, we've got you know, a wet bath with a shower and a toilet. We've got a bed that you know, converts into just about a king-size bed. We've got you know, 3-way power of shore power, battery power, propane, and just about everything else. Outdoor shower, outdoor propane hookup, and just a lot of other things. But I'll give a tour of the van at some other point. Number 9 is, it really is perfect for one person. The size of it, if you're traveling by yourself, it's just ideal for one person, I think. It works for two. My wife travels with me a lot, and we have gone literally all across the country in this thing, and have really not been stepping on each other's toes. It's interesting that such a small space can really work well, and I think in some ways it challenges your relationships, but it also makes them even more compatible. And you learn really quickly if you're not compatible for this kind of travel. Number 8, I would say that any van, whether it's a Sprinter or a Chevy or a Dodge, or even a Ford that you do it yourself conversion van, they blend in a lot better in the urban settings. Now the Sprinter, granted, it's a tall van, but people are used to the shape. FedEx has over 50,000 of them out there on the streets, so it's not a foreign concept. A Class C, a Class A sticks out like a sore thumb. So, you know, I think from that perspective it works as far as being more conducive to, you know, the urban environment. Because if you're like me, you do a lot of dry camping, a lot of urban camping. You know, obviously in some ways it looks like an RV, but nowhere does it look like it. No way does it look like an RV to the extent of a Class C or a Class A. Number 7, one of the things I like about this is I'm kind of cheap in a lot of ways, and when I go to state parks, national parks, I actually like the tent campsites better than the RV campsites. And I do a lot of dry camping, so I don't really need a lot of hookups for the kind of camping that I do. And so I like the fact that with this vehicle, the one that I've chosen, I can actually use the tent campsites. Class C's, they don't want you pulling in there. Class A's, definitely, there's not enough room for you there. And I usually bring a tent along that I can actually pitch in the site kind of as a marker that somebody's using it, because since this is a Class B, if I'm going to go out exploring during the day and need to drive, I'm going to take the van with me. So that's a nice little bonus there. Number 6 on my list is actually the size. This is the short space Sprinter version that I have. It's the Roadtrek Agile. It's 19 feet and 5 inches long. And to give you some perspective on that, the vehicle that I had that I actually traded in against this was a Ford F-150 crew cab pickup. So it's 4 full doors, front and back row, full-size bed, and that is 19.3.9 or 19 feet 4 inches. So it's 1 inch shorter than this short space Sprinter. So I mean, you know, basically I can take this and park in any space that I could have parked my F-150 crew cab. So I like the size of it. They make a longer model that's about 24 feet. I didn't like that one. What it gives you in the additional feet wasn't worth it for me, and what you give up in having your vehicle stick out in other spaces. Staying below 20 feet for me, again, is something that I think is just really crucial if you're trying to blend into that urban environment as much as you can. Let's see, number 5 is that it actually can be treated as a car. This is our second vehicle. We have one other vehicle. It's actually an electric vehicle, so you can imagine it's not a Tesla, so it's a Nissan Leaf. So we have a range, the best range is probably about 80 to 85 miles on a full charge. So this is what we take to do any kind of distance traveling, and actually I use it basically as a replacement for my pickup. Now, obviously, I'm not putting mulch or dirt in here, but I have transported couches inside of this. Just this past weekend, we went to Lowe's and picked up a new propane grill for the backyard, and I just put the bed down and we flipped the grill on its side and laid it in here, and it was just like the pickup truck, so worked perfectly. Let's see, number 4. Oh, one other thing about treating it as a second vehicle. One of the strangest things I ever saw was I was in North Carolina and I saw a Class A pull into a grocery store parking lot, and it was pulling a Toad behind it. And believe it or not, what it was pulling behind it as its daily driver for the Class A was one of these, a Roadtrek Agile. It was pulling an RV as its Toad. I couldn't believe it, but you know, I guess I'm not the only one who uses it as a second vehicle. Number 4, serviceability. I mean, this is a Sprinter van, so it's a Freightliner chassis that has a Mercedes turbo diesel engine in it. So I can pull into any Mercedes dealership and get it serviced. It's, you know, and that's basically, you know, one of the places that I take it from time to time is to the Mercedes dealership, because they are doing a lot of the service and repairs on a lot of these Sprinters. They're really good at it. And the one that I have to deal with here locally is extremely reasonably priced. I was really concerned, being, you know, the stories you hear about Mercedes dealerships just being so expensive and outrageous and all that kind of stuff. You know, I thought I was going into an experience of maybe borrowing a Harley where you know, put, you know, $20,000 down for a bike and you spend $20,000 in parts and labor over the next couple of years. But hasn't been like that at all. I've been very satisfied with the service, the quality of service, and the price for the service that I've gotten from the Mercedes dealerships. Number 3, you know, one of the nice things about the van is that the less real estate, the fewer problems. What I mean by that is this is, you know, less than 20 feet long, whereas you could have a Class A that could be 30 or 40 feet long. Well, you got to add all that extra tubing, all that extra wiring, you know, the plumbing. So the longer, you know, if you have 10 feet of plumbing, that's 10 feet where you could have a crack. If you have 4 feet, there's only 4 feet you could have a crack. So the opportunity for things to go wrong is reduced as well. So, there's a nice thing about having everything kind of compact like this, because it doesn't really create as much of the problems as something that was much larger. It's kind of like if you own 100 acres versus a half an acre and you got a fence around it. Well, I'd rather walk the half acre if I've got to keep an eye on the fence and make repairs all the time than the 100 acres. Number 2 on my list would be the gas mileage. So this isn't something I made up. This is just average Class A's, average MPGs are between 7 and 11 miles per gallon. I think the 11 might be a little generous. Class C's, the average is 8 to 12 miles per gallon. Now this is a Class B, and it's also a diesel, and it's between 18 and 20 miles per gallon. And actually driving across states like Kansas, I've even gotten higher than that. I've seen some reports, I haven't experienced this, but I've seen some reports on forums where people are, out in the flatlands and they have a tailwind and they're claiming to get 24, 25 miles to the gallon. But still, 18 to 20 is pretty consistent for what I get on my travels in this van. And number 1, the most important thing for me is when I was looking for a vehicle to purchase, I like the idea of purchasing one vehicle and sticking with it over time. And if you look out there at new or used, and then you look at the track record of these vehicles, Class B, Class A, Class C, the Class Bs tend to be the higher mileage vehicles, so they last, they hold up well. And the Sprinter vans are just amazing. It is very, very common to find a Sprinter, a Freightliner chassis with a Mercedes engine that gets 300,000 miles on it with just regular service, not a lot of major repairs. And I've even found, the one that I found out there that's still the highest I've found is 653,000 miles, still in service. I think that's pretty amazing. So again, for me, the longevity, you might pay a little more for a fully outfitted rig like a Class B RV like this one, and you might even consider that you're paying a little more for the Sprinter or the diesel engine. But I think in the long run, if it's something you intend to stick with, it's going to take care of itself as far as the value. If you plan to drive this for a while, and right now, gas prices are going up again, diesel prices are not. So when they went down lower, they were below the diesel price, but the diesel price stays pretty steady. Regular, though, just regular through premium changes quite a bit. So anyways, there's my top 10 list, and I just want to share it with you. Again, those are my reasons for choosing this Class B. It really works well for me, and if any of those things work for you, then good. Let me know what you think. If there's anything that you want to add to my list from your own experiences in Class B, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And I think, Queenie, do you want to say anything? Queenie, what? What are you doing? What? Did I wake you up? You want to say hi? You want to say hi? No? You want to go back to sleep? All right. Well, y'all enjoy. Ears up, ears down, ears up, ears down, ears up, ears down.